Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video. I'm going to start a series called The Toads Before the Prince. Because one time my aunt told me sometimes you have to kiss a few toads until you find Prince Charming. So I'm going to start at the beginning. And I already recorded this one time through, but it was so all over the place that I had to start over. So I'm going to start at the very first dysfunctional relationship. I want to make this series to kind of, tell my experience, and hopefully if somebody's going through what I went through, I can give you some advice and some tips so you can leave that situation because it's not worth it. This was my very first dysfunctional relationship, and it lasted all of junior year through senior year until I moved to Texas. So beginning of senior year, I met this boy in my math class. I was not attracted to him, and I didn't even know him. But he was in my math class and he sat right next to me, and he was a football player. So one day I decided to write him a note just to kind of, I think it was like to get math help or I don't know, whatever. So we started talking like that. He wasn't interested in me. Like, he didn't try to make any moves or anything like that. And I kind of just started liking him like for his personality, because like I said, I wasn't attracted to him at all. But I started liking him for his personality, and he seemed nice and he had a lot of friends. But this boy was nothing but trouble. Long story short, we ended up dating maybe after like 2 months into the school year. And there's so many red flags that I should have caught on to that I didn't. And I probably should have broke up with him a long time ago. So let's start at the very beginning. So shortly after us starting to date, me and him had separate lunches, and it was around Halloween time. I noticed this girl always hanging around him. We're just gonna call her Veronica. So I would always ask him, like, why is Veronica here? Or why is she hanging out with you? Because I remember one time specifically, I saw her standing in front of him at lunch, like he was sitting on a bench, and I just like walked over there, stepped right in front of her and was like, excuse me, and like, get out of my way. And she ended up leaving. But I would ask him, why is this girl Veronica always around? Well, it turns out this Veronica girl was his ex-girlfriend from the previous year, and he just claimed that she was crazy, right? They're always crazy. And I kind of just brushed it off. I had no reason not to trust him, and I moved on. Fast forward a couple months, Valentine's Day. I call him at his house just to see, like whatever, hey, what are you doing, blah, 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 which you do when you're a teenager, you talk on the phone. And his brother answers the phone and tells me, oh, he's at the movies. I'm like, he's at the movies with his girlfriend. I was like, I have his girlfriend. Like, what do you mean he's at the movies? And it was his younger brother. And I think he was like in 4th or 5th grade. Well, he ended up spilling all the tea and letting me know he was at the movies with Veronica. And I was really like, what are you talking about? Like, really caught off guard. I wasn't expecting that. And I don't remember exactly how the conversation went because it was over 10 years ago, but I basically broke up with him, and I was like, no, like, I don't play that, like, this is not going to happen. And he apologized over and over again, was writing me love letters, was showing up outside of my classrooms just to apologize, buying me flowers, buying me food, like everything. And so maybe 6 to 8 weeks later, we end up getting back together. I give him a second chance. So then after that, everything seems fine and dandy. And he always walked me to every one of my classes. So he's walking me to my second period class, and I run into my other friend, and she was like, he is giving me a hug and a kiss bye. And she's like,
ew, don't effing kiss him, blah, blah, blah.
Like, she's going off, like cussing him out, like telling me not to kiss him, and I was like really confused. She was like,
he was at a party this weekend making out with some bitch, blah, blah, blah.
She's like going off, okay? I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was really confused because that weekend I was at a family party, and back then, like, not everybody had cell phones, and I remember him always being grounded from the phone. So I didn't even know that he went to a party. And she's telling me that he was making out with some girl. And yeah, so she's going off telling me, like, you need to, like, just leave him, break up with him. He's not good news. He did this, he did that. And I was really, like, caught off guard. And so I was like, wait, what? Like, and I ended up breaking up with him But this time it wasn't for a few weeks. It was only for a few days. He had a way to like, he started being like more manipulative and changing things around to make me feel like it was my fault or me feel like I did something wrong. And so I remember breaking up with him, but not for that long, and me like kissing his ass as if like I did something wrong by breaking up with him, but really he cheated on me. Like, why wouldn't I break up with you? So I ended up getting back with him, and that was a big mistake. Like, you do not give a cheater more than one chance to screw you over. Like, what is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, yes, don't, like, cheaters don't change. I'm sorry, they don't. But again, I took him back, and it seemed like, I honestly don't remember the dynamic too deeply about that relationship, but I know things were a little bit off because he stopped walking me to class as often as he would. He would say, oh, I can only leave you off right here because I got to make it to class. Otherwise, like, I'm going to get in trouble. I can't be late anymore, because he was being late every day by walking me to class. But I remember one time specifically kind of feeling like that feeling that girls feel when something is wrong. So I ended up walking to the other side of the school where his classroom was at. I had something of his, but then I had like that gut feeling, so that's why I like urgently needed to take it to him right now. Like, I couldn't wait. And oh, he was walking another girl to class. Not Veronica, not the biatch that he was making out with, another girl. He told me, oh yeah, I was just asking her about the homework assignment, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so again, I brushed it off, okay, which I shouldn't have been giving this guy the benefit of the doubt. Like, he already screwed me over twice. Like, I probably should have known better by this point. We're gonna fast forward, because that was like towards the end of junior year. This is summer school, going into senior year. This is when things start getting like even like more suspicious, and Danielle, get your shit together and leave this idiot. Okay, so now he's starting to be absent. Like, before he was walking me to class, now he's just not even showing up. Like, he's supposed to meet me before school or after school or on break, and he's just not there. And he's making whatever excuses, and he honestly just keeps letting me down and letting me down and letting me down. Well, I remember one time specifically, he was going to go visit this teacher. He was a science teacher, and I was a TA in his class for a little bit, and he was really cool. And he was gonna go visit him, and there's this girl, when I'm walking, because I was like, okay, well, I'll walk you to the class, because I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on between us at this point. There's this girl following us, the same girl that I caught him walking to class with from earlier, you know, a couple of months prior. And I'm like, why is this bitch following us? And he made it seem like,
oh, she's harmless. That's my friend's little sister. She's in this class. She doesn't have any friends. You know.
so I'm like, okay. And she didn't look like a threat to me. And so I kind of took his word for it. And I let him walk into class, and that girl went right into class with him. And even though he wasn't enrolled in summer school, he wanted to go see that teacher, supposedly. And I don't know if this girl was enrolled in that class or not, but later on in the summer, I ended up finding out by one of my friends who had that summer class, who was in that science class. She was in my first period drama class. She had him for second period science class. She said that homeboy was in there every day with that girl, that they were holding hands in that class, that she would see him kissing her, and all of this stuff. Like, when I heard that, like, I was devastated. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you sure, like, he's doing those things? And she's like, yeah, like, I promise you, like, I see him. And even at one point, one of our mutual guy friends had called me over the summer and was like, hey, are you and so-and-so still together? And I was like, why? And he's like, well, because he's dating my friend. So if you guys are together, like, you know, you can let me know. So, because he was friends with that girl too. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I was super confused. Like, I was really confused. So apparently he was like dating another girl. So going into senior year, I found out, like, Because he denied it. Of course, he's like,
no, I don't know, that girl's crazy, they're all making it up.
And he had a way, like I said, to convince me like I'm crazy and everybody's just against him and he's not doing anything wrong. And I believed him. Again, like you would think like, Danielle, you don't learn your lesson, leave him. But I was so blinded. I was so blinded. And so going into senior year, I ended up finding out, yeah, he was with that girl the whole time. You know what he even did? He even went to the level of, to prove to me that he wasn't with her, calling her on three-way with me on the phone to say, hey,
you're nothing, you're shit. You know you don't mean anything to me. You know Danielle means everything to me. You're like, you know, like you're nothing, like you're worthless. And
like putting this girl down, and she's crying on the phone like,
why are you doing this? Like, why are you saying these things to me?
like, and he's like,
because you don't mean shit.
like, you know,
Oh, I love Danielle. I'm with Danielle. Like,
he went to the extent of telling this girl all of these things, like while I was on throughway, just to prove to me that he wasn't with her. When in reality, he was with her and he was telling her the same shit about me. He never called me on three-way like that, but he was telling her like, oh, me and her are not together. Oh, Danielle's just crazy, all this stuff. And the reason why I know that is because I got her phone number and I called her. And I was like, I want to know, are you still dating? And I'm really confused as to what's going on. And she said that, yeah, they were together. They had been together for a few months by this point. And I'm like, so you're telling me like he legit like had a whole nother relationship outside of our relationship. She was like crying to me saying like I don't know, all of this stuff, like they had been together for a long time, that he goes over her house every day. And I asked her if they were together, and yeah, they were. And at this point, like it was senior year and I knew that I was gonna be leaving soon. And I know I went off on him when I ended up finding out, because I'm like, you're just a fucking liar. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you want to be with somebody else, like, just be honest. Like, that's one thing. Like, don't cheat. Like, just be honest. If you have somebody else, if you're not happy, just say, hey, I'm not happy. Like, I met somebody else, or I'm, you know, there's no having your cake and eating it too, sweetheart. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, he had another girlfriend. And I ended up just like ending things. I think my way, like I said, we're moving to Texas. My mom asked me if I wanted to stay, but I was so over everybody at that point. Not only was I over that relationship, my friends at the time knew that he had another girlfriend. And they didn't even tell me anything. Like, they kind of just let me get my heart broken for like the 20th time with the same person. But that's a whole nother video. So yeah, I ended up ending things, and I'm glad that I did when I did. Long story short, like he was not a good person. You know that video that I made about the stranger slapping me? It was because of him. So I got slapped by a stranger because of him. I got cheated on by him. Oh, not only that, get this. He was really on drugs, like, and it made him like super crazy. Like this nice guy that I thought I knew, he was not that nice. He ended up being really crazy. I broke up with him senior year. Like I said, enough was enough. He had a whole nother girlfriend, a whole nother relationship. I broke up with him. It was my last few days at that school. And so of course I'm hugging everybody bye. I'm taking pictures with everybody. And it was after school one day, and he came up to me to say, to call me names. He was like,
oh, you effing slut. Like, I heard that you were, you know, sitting on this guy's lap.
and doing this, doing that, like things that were not even true. Like, I'm taking pictures and hugging people on the last day of school, just taking pictures to have for my memories. I'm moving to another state, number one. Number two, who are you? Because you're not my boyfriend. Boy, bye. And he spit in my face. I forgot about that. He spit in my face. Who are you to come up to me and spit in my face? Oh, I was livid. But there was nothing that, like, at that point I can do. I tried calling, like, my sister's husband, and I was like, can you come here and kick his ass? Like, I was, like, crying. It was after school when it happened. It was my last day of school. Like, I felt like, honestly, like, I couldn't really do anything. But that guy, like I said, like, I don't want to, like, talk bad about people because I don't know how he is now, and I don't know how he treated other girls after me, but I know with me, he was not a good guy. It may have been because he was on drugs, but that's even worse. Like, you're 17 years old and you're on drugs. Like, really? I don't know. That whole relationship was horrible. I thank God that I got out of it. No, I'm glad that I moved when I did, because who knows what else it would have been after that. I mean, he already had girls coming up to me. Besides that girl who slapped me, there was another girl who like came up to me and told me off for him. So he was like just starting a lot of problems, and it was just not worth it. So like, especially, I mean, you shouldn't be with somebody if you're getting cheated on, but especially if you're in high school and you're going through this stuff, like, there's no reason. Like, if I could tell my 16 and 17-year-old self something today, I would be like,
girl, don't be wasting your time on these little boys. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
But really, I know, honestly, like, I know that was super obnoxious, but honestly, like, I would just say, don't waste your time. Like, I wish I would have focused on school. Like, I wasted so much time and energy on this boy who didn't even know how to treat me. Like, he probably didn't even know how to wipe his own ass. Like, really? I don't know. So if you're in that situation, just get out. You're worth so much more. Like, if people don't see your value, you need to just get up and leave. Like, I'm sorry. Like, your time is precious. You are valuable. You are worth so much more. You may think like, oh, this is the only boy for me, or this is the only girl for me. This is it. No, because that's not love. Love is not hurting somebody. Like, if somebody loved you, they're not going to walk all over you. They're not going to lie to you. They're not going to mistreat you. They're not going to do those things to you. They're going to treat you with respect. They're going to like honor you. They're going to make you feel valued. Anybody that makes you feel worthless is not worth it. You just got to leave. And I know it hurts. Believe me, it hurts sometimes, but you just got to, you know, do it for yourself. Get a hobby, join a sport, join a club. If I can go back to high school, I would definitely get involved in everything and distract, you know, my time, or keep my time occupied so I'm not worrying about boys or drama or anything else. Like, those are like, honestly, high school are the best years of your life. People say college, but college, I had to work my ass off. I had, you know, high school is like probably the only time that you get to live on your parents' money and, you know, just like live your life. You don't have any responsibilities besides being a student. And like, I don't know, like, your focus should be school. But yeah, that was the very first toad I kissed in the series. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.